Meeting is being live streamed.
There's nothing like a live stream, especially on an Easter Sunday. A happy Easter, and also welcome to the very most special guest in the world, the legendary Edward KaSpel. Hello, Edward.
Don't know about the most special guest in the world, but happy Easter.
Happy Easter. And the suitable coloring there, I can see that's perfect. Yeah, no, I didn't really actually even think about it being Easter until I was reminded, and I thought, like, you know, it makes it even more special to spend it with special people.
I didn't connect with me. I just saw, like, oh my God, 17th. I've got this thing about the number 17. It's like is actually my unlucky number. Even when I do these limited editions, I always leave that number out and stuff like that because I've got fierce superstition about it. But, you know, actually it's been kind of a good day. So obviously it's like, you know, things are changing about this number.
Where did that start? The thing about the 17?
It's when I grew up in like a house is number 17 on the street, and I always found it a bit of a big creepy house. I never really felt that comfortable in it in my childhood, not in the house. I mean, it's not that it was a terrible childhood or something, but I just didn't really like the place. So when we moved away, eventually, when I was like, I think about 13 years old, I was relieved to get away from this house. And I always, but the number of the house sort of like lived on with me. And it always seemed like unlucky things happened to me on the 17th of any month. And, you know, it's just like, so like, you know, I mean, it's probably complete bullshit, of course, but, you know, but these superstitions, I wish I wasn't a superstitious person, but I am, you know. I will follow certain rituals. I could do absurd things like saying white rabbits 3 times on the 1st of every month. And I really have to do this. I really have to. And what's even worse, I get a learner to do it as well. So I basically
in the morning as soon as it hits midnight.
You know, but you know, so like if anything goes wrong, it's like, well, but I never forget to say it. I actually have forgotten to say it for, I don't know, maybe about 30 years or something like that. That's something ridiculous.
I love that. So the amazing thing about knowing you is the first time I ever spoke to you, it was like, oh my God, there's the voice of Edward that I love so much. And when you speak, it was like instantly like you're taken away to whatever world you're capable of describing, whether it be superstitions or whatever. The stories you tell are just always been amazing. Along the way, have you found that you have put superstition into any sort of musical form?
Always, it works its way in. As I say, like, it is ridiculous. Like, you know, like just to sort of like try and get by a bit in this, because it's a tough time with the pandemic and everything like that. So I thought, well, I'm going to start making these CDRs at home, and I actually really enjoy doing it. So I do like little editions of like 99 or 69 or so, but there is never a number 17. There's 100 out of 99. And sometimes I forget where I am, so I do a little symbol out of 99. But there is never 17 out of 99.
Have you ever written the number 17, you think?
Oh, I mean, I have. Yeah, I mean, because sometimes you just can't avoid it.
Yeah, you can't avoid that.
But, you know, sort of, if I can get away with it, I won't. I won't even, it's amazing that I'm actually even talking about it, because usually I talk about the number between 16 and 18.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, you've certainly been so prolific through this whole quarantine situation. I mean, is there a number of the amount of releases? I was trying to count, and it seems if you add up the CDRs or even the quarantine tapes, volume 2, and so on. I mean, it's just, you got to teach us how to stay so prolific. What do you have?
I don't know, it's just what I do, really. You know, I mean, it's just like, I like to work on something every day. And sometimes there's like something going on in the world that really it gets you going, because I mean, we're really disturbed by this horrendous war that's going on at the moment. It's just like,
Yeah.
You know, it's just so, and I just had to like get a lot out of my system. And that's that last one, the Concrete Diaries, is it really was very influenced by the time. And it's like an outbursting, and sometimes you can go like a couple of days without really writing anything, but then on sort of a certain day you're suddenly writing 3 or 4 songs at once. So you know, it's I'm trying to slow down at the moment, like not sort of, there might not be one of the beginning of next month, I'm not sure yet, but oh yeah, that's it. Concrete Diaries indeed. Very proud of that one. Because because in a way I felt that set a little bit of a high bar, and you always have to try and beat what you did before. And that it's a little bit of a tough one to get past this one.
I mean, so this is more or less your solo ventures and the things that you're expressing. And how is it different from, say, the legendary Pink Dots in the sense of what you are putting into these releases?
It's really hard to really separate them in some ways. The Pink Dots, I tend to spend, oh yeah, there's another one.
Beautiful sleeve again.
Yeah, Conspiracy of Violence. So originally I was thinking that, like, because you know I had the saying Conspiracy of Silence. I think, oh yeah, I'm going to do a play on words, Conspiracy of Violence. I thought, no, I don't want Conspiracy of Violence. There's enough violence in the world. Gonna pylons. All the pylons are communicating with each other. So I just thought, yeah, let's make it pylons. You know, because yeah, indeed, there was enough fighting in the world.
And you see these all the time, and you wonder, they've always been rumored, could they be doing damage to us, etc.
I know. They've always fascinated me, these structures we walk beneath, and you don't know what's buzzing above your head. But you know, you'd be a little lost without them in a way. Oh yeah, sends you.
These are beautiful, Edward. I mean, and going back, and is it, you know, going back to the cassette feel of the cassette era? Is this bringing back? I'm finding out recently that I'm incredibly nostalgic. Kind of been reminded to a lot of times. It is bringing out a nostalgia feeling to me. I love it.
Yeah, it's funny because first of all, I wasn't so sure about cassettes, because I thought, well, who's got a cassette player? Who's really going to be interested in? But sort of like Johnny in Denver really wanted, and I found actually I really like these little packages and the way they look. There's something something exquisite about them. Yeah, I must say.
Beautiful concept too. Beautiful concept. Yeah. So I mean, these are unique to this series, or are these the same as what people could find on the CDR, or those are totally different as well?
Oh no, if there is a CDR coming, I don't think for every release the CDR. I sort of like, because I don't want to overload people. Yeah. What's on the net is the same as what's on the tapes, because I've been tending to do a lot of things that are just like download only as well. But yeah, there's a kind of a little bit of a demand from people to, you know, sort of make them physical. So then I think, well, why not? You know, it's.
What was the story on this? Do not attempt to play these discs on your turntable.
It's just. Well, it's the singles, because the individual sleeves of the 2 CDs are actually like they're taken from a 7-inch single, and it's just like they look a little bit like 7 inches. It's. But yeah, it's just a little bit of humor, really.
It's great. Who did the Concrete Diaries sleeve? It's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's mine. Yeah, I see. I was talking about it tonight. Like, I actually had a really bad cataract. I can't see out of one of my eyes. I'm blind in one eye, but my right eye sort of like was developing a really bad cataract over years, and I was actually, to be honest, slowly going blind until a couple of years ago, when finally I decided I've really got to take the risk and just have it treated, you know, sort of like I can't have this because I'm just going to be totally blind within a couple of years. So I had it removed, and suddenly I realized, my God, I've been half blind actually for about the last 20 years. And like suddenly I saw everything. It's just like, oh my God, colors are great, aren't they? You know, and it's like it got me into sort of like the visual sort of arts as well. I mean, I can't draw or paint to save my life, but I do like working with photographs and, you know, digital art and trying to make it not look digital, you know, to sort of like get the I use different techniques and so on, like, you know, and some of it is physical, and I go to like the limit of what I can possibly do without sort of like completely understanding the technology, but always finding my way around it in a way that I feel comfortable with it.
And you guys were always hands-on though, weren't you? I mean, when you made this cassette.
Oh yeah, I mean that wasn't our cover. That was the label's cover. That's Dots on the Eyes, isn't it?
When did you start making the covers? Like, I mean, I love.
That's my first one, but that's partly Roland as well, because that face behind, that's a drawn face, and Roland made that face. I sort of like got the baby with the TV. Indeed, it's a boy. It was a little more primitive in those times, I have to say.
What a great album, though.
That's one of my favorites. That's
I absolutely
my second favorite cassette from the early days. That one.
Really, I think me too. I used to go to bed listening to this, where it would play a side of the cassette and automatically stop. So I would play it as I was going to sleep, and oh my God, it's just some of the great pictures that would come to mind, and people were like, how could you sleep with this music on? I don't know. It just took me right away.
You get some pretty strange dreams, I tell you that.
Strange, fantastic dreams, Edward. I mean, what was cool is that, you know, when I was is that another one of yours?
Yeah, that looks like one of mine. I completely forgot about that, actually.
It's like one of the
that probably would be, yeah.
I always liked the primitive nature of them. I don't know. This is one of the first. What is this? The first?
Oh, that's Roland. That drawing. Oh. He was. I don't actually know that. Is it what? Who released that? It doesn't look like something.
Looks like well, it says Brighter Now, Legendary Pink Dots. I'm wondering if
I mean, it's Brighter Now, but I don't know the cover. I know a different cover. Interesting. Yeah, I'm always finding out about releases though that we've had. It's kind of.
This is let's say what. Let's see, from Art Nouveau. Oh, I guess a French one, maybe.
I don't know, to be honest. That's completely new to me, to be honest.
I remember you found out that I actually had somehow, and I don't even know how, I had managed to find an original copy of Chemical Play School 1 and 2.
Seriously?
Yeah, but way back in the day. And I showed you that the guy wouldn't, of course, it belonged to that guy in Vancouver, that guy, famous guy, Mark Machette. And he had it.
Oh, right, yeah, I know. I remember him.
He let me copy it, and it had a hand-colored cover.
Roland, yeah.
Roland again.
Roland is just an insanely good artist.
You were amazed that we had that somehow found these, and in some ways, I'm thinking like on the other side of the world, what would the chances be that we would find a cassette like that? I mean, it's just uncanny.
I mean, there's a great perfectionism with those cassettes. I mean, that's why we always put them on chrome tapes, and because I hated the thought that the sound could be bad. You know, I really just don't like bad sound. Oh, quite agree. But the sound on that is not what it should be, because they use cheap cassettes for that release. I mean, why did they do that? You know, please put it on better quality cassettes.
No,
but, you know, the concept is nice.
The concept. I mean, it was so good that I actually built one of them.
You actually built one?
Built one. And it was a legendary pink jet. And then that got lost.
Yeah. I want to build one of those. I'd completely ruin it, because I get glue everywhere and sort of like basically mess everything up.
Edward, the other day, or not the other day, 2 weeks ago, I had Simon Crabb on from Bourbonnais Quack.
Okay.
It was the first time I've ever met him, and I was kind of reminded that like this is when I was coming up with, oh my God, I'm very nostalgic, and there's many people from this era that aren't so nostalgic. I mean, they even have like difficulty like looking back and talking about their career at the beginning and thinking it was an embarrassment, and these type of things. I was like, no, I actually think that this era is like, in some ways, punk or new wave had its golden era. And I think that there was a golden era of this type of music. But the only way that I can kind of define that, Trip, this is a really weird connection, is that I keep on bringing this up, that this album connected everybody.
That's right, yeah.
Including me and you, which is so strange, is that if I had never got this album, I would never have known how to contact.
It's a really fine album. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you mentioned Simon. I mean, Bourbonnais Quack, those first albums they're actually brilliant.
Brilliant. I mean,
Laughing Afternoon, I love that album.
Yeah, Laughing Afternoon, Hope, just those two together. I mean, they're kind of like instilled as classic parts of what I considered to be a doorway for me. Anyways, I remember the first day that I listened to this album and I thought like, wait, this is like a doorway to a scene that, was kind of unexplored. And it still, to me, to this day, has my favorite legendary Pink Dots track of all time on it. Surprise, surprise.
My surprise.
Oh my God. What an introduction. And still, it's just the way that you guys paint, the way you painted that the way there was a trip, and the way that you compose, Edward, that's what I'm learning over 40 years now of like digesting and knowing you and your music, is that when I listen to the new album, I just absolutely do hear the same approach to your music that you had since the very beginning. And it's just...
It is, yeah, I can't deny it.
Absolutely applaudable that like you, with the Museum of Happiness, have taken it back to the kind of like world. I don't know how you do it. Someday I'd like to sit and watch how you trip so well. But man, when your songs take a side trip or take a venture, it's more than a break. It's more than a sidestep. It's like actual perfect. I don't know. It's like, as I was experiencing with Basilisk, it is something that you experience. Let's talk about the Museum of Happiness. What were you thinking when you made this? How was it?
Well, it's pandemic time. Bizarre to think the last time I stepped on a stage was February the 29th in 2020. And so, you could say had a lot of time, lot of time to sort of like just focus in on music. You were technically locked in all the time. I mean, it was, you weren't even allowed to go. You're allowed to go out officially once a day and like exercise, and then come back in and not see anyone. I mean, I don't think very few people went that far. But I've certainly spent more time at home than I would ever normally do. So, and so like you write songs because that's what you do, it's like, and you write about what you hear and what you see, and on a certain, and then you start in a way even seeing the funny side of it here and there, like, because they had this slogan, hands, face, space, and you see it everywhere, and it's just like, you had to feel like you get too close to somebody, it's like, stay away, I'll throw a stone at you or something like that. And so I just had to get it in there, It's really like, it's a very strange time. I mean, it's the first time I ever had anything like that happen in my life. I mean, when did you ever have to like lock yourself in?
Yeah.
And it's like, and people really, really respect the distance quite a lot here. You go into the park, it's like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
Too close, you get a jogger, and, it's like, he sort of goes past you, and he's like breathing out. It's like, oh God, did I just breathe some of that in? It's
Yeah.
And
So careful.
and you know, I mean, I'm fully vaccinated and everything like that, like 3 times now. But yeah, believe it or not, I still managed to get it. Can you believe it, after all of them?
Tell us, I mean, what did that feel like when you finally said, "Oh my God, I think I've got it"? Was it?
Oh, I wasn't worried by then. I think I had it badly at the beginning of last year because it was everywhere here.
Yeah.
And I had a really, like, quite a bad illness, but I don't know what it was. And because there were no tests around or anything like that, nobody really knew. I mean, this country was a disaster when it came to COVID. But sort of like, and there were no vaccinations at that point either. They'd only just begun. But over the time, like we worked our way up to 3 vaccinations, and we already knew people who'd had it. And there's like this Omicron variant, and they were all saying, well, actually, it's like a cold. And indeed, it was like a cold. We all had it here. It's like, but it lasted maybe, I think for Alona, it was worse 5 days. So for me, I felt rough for maybe a day.
Wow.
And then sort of like just gave over. I've had worse colds. Had far worse colds. And
I mean, that is good news in some ways. And then
yeah, totally.
You must feel kind of somewhat better knowing that also because of that, your natural immunity system is going to have the benefit of the vaccination and also having battled it. So basically, you just be like Super Edward at this point.
Yeah, it's good. I've lost all the fear. That's for sure. Because there is a queasy, you sit in a crowded train or something like that, and you just think, you might be wearing masks, but it's around, But now, knowing all of that, I can't say I'm worried. People do seem to get it more than once now, strangely as well. It's they keep coming back, basically.
But you did feel like you had it before they actually even were announcing what COVID was. You felt like you possibly had it?
No. This was the beginning of 2021. There was a very, very bad time in the UK. In that there was like the government were doing this thing of sort of like, we're not going to cancel Christmas. Oh, yes, we are going to cancel Christmas. So basically nobody knew what they were doing. And it was like, it just went absolutely massive. There were like 1,500 people dying every day in the UK. It was absolutely terrible. And that's when I think I got it for the first time, because it was particularly bad right where we live. And with Alice at school as well, sort of like it was going around the schools. They were, closing down this class or that class, and it was pretty hard to avoid it. And but as I say, there was no way to test. There were no tests available, so you didn't actually know if you had it. All you could do is compare notes with someone who had managed to get a hold of a test because they were a teacher or something like that, who had been positive, and you thought, and then that's exactly what I was going through, and that's how you come to the conclusion. Actually, I must have had it, and that was kind of bad because it lingered as well.
Yeah.
And
was that one worse?
That was far worse. At the beginning of last year, far worse. Yeah, that wasn't like a cold at all. That was like something I just didn't know what was going on. Odd symptoms like throbbing at the top of the windpipe. What is that?
Right.
And a strange shoulder ache. It's like in the bones. But more than an ache, it was excruciating. Couldn't sleep with it. It was that bad. And I thought, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know, I'm falling apart. But one day, I just felt it had gone, and it had gone.
That's amazing. I'm really glad to hear that. And like at I mean, you're even older than I am, and I worry at my age, like what the heck, would happen. And it's hard to make plans and do anything, obviously, like we're used to in our life, to go play shows and stay in tune. And I know that you guys have a plan for a tour coming up this fall, which is starting in Salt Lake City on the 19th. Is that of
That's
October?
right, yeah. Yeah, 19th of October. I'm really so hoping it'll work. It's like going to Asheville. I've always wanted to go to Asheville. I've heard so much about Asheville.
Asheville, North Carolina. There on the
yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be a really special place. I've always wanted to go there. I feel like it must be a magical place in some way. It's like, some places have this like magical aura around them. And like a lot of people told me about it, so I just know it's got to be special. I mean, I'm not disappointed, of course. But
I haven't been there recently. I think we maybe played there in the 90s, but since then, I think Moog moved there. And
it's the home of Moog. Yeah,
Moog, and then Make Noise lives near there. The modular guys, and then
Make Noise, didn't know that.
Yeah, and then so you've got this whole community sort of base in Asheville that puts on this. I think is it the Moog Music Festival? I think definitely love to be a part of that. I have not yet been so far, but possibly in the future. Let's see what else you got here. Minneapolis at the 7th Street. That's the First Avenue.
That's a nice place. We played there many times there at that venue. Omaha? I mean Nebraska? That's a weird one. That's a weird one.
That's a great name, Reverb Lounge, and I can't say I can remember playing in Omaha, but like you're there at Ophelia's, ending off on the 19th. Isn't that the home of? I
think it may have changed to the Mercury now in Denver. So Randall was telling me, but I'm pretty sure it is, because I think this is it keeps changing a little bit, but only in Denver. But
you guys will be hitting the road, and it will be the Museum of Human Happiness tour. Is it going to be?
Yeah,
a lot of that's going to be killer. I'm very much looking forward to this. Is it going to be Orbit Service again, playing with you guys?
Oh yeah,
good old
like brothers.
Is Randall also did your live sound as well, right?
He basically. He has done a bit here and there, but he tends to move around. Like he does a lot for the band. He's very connected in so many ways. And of course, we have the Star Too Far as well, where it's like a project.
Oh, right.
Doing together. I know Randall many years now. It's family. Absolute family. Like you, Kevin, your family.
Thanks, Edward. I mean, we've known each other now, I think like coming up. So I remember that the first time I ever spoke to you, as I was saying, was I think in 1984. And we were basically at a party, and the legendary Debbie Jones decided that she was going to look on your record sleeve and find like that you had a record. You had your phone number for In Phase Records on there.
My God.
Debbie, Tracy, and you on your first visit over. I met you on that, and Debbie just called you up, and basically,
I still remember it very, very well.
Basically, passed me the phone. I think I've gone over this story before, so I won't repeat it. But it's just the most amazing thing that we've known each other for 40 years practically, and the Tear Garden. We were lucky enough to start that band that people seem to like.
Notice that actually, yes, true.
Yeah, true.
Pulled on a bit, the Tear Garden, I think.
It was amazing that I was looking at this picture, and it's like it's 1986. I'm thinking to myself, wait.
That's sort of new romantic sort of like stuff, isn't it?
Must be in our 20s here still or something, man.
Whoa, that's intense.
When you were staying at your squat in Amsterdam, and I was just so magically taken with the whole environment over there. I mean, what an environment to be brought into, as a young, I think I was 25. So it was like completely, you made me a tape of some of the craziest music. I still have it. And it was a whole educational thing. So I've been lucky, we were lucky to just be able to go into Mushroom Studios and make the Center Bullet. what are your memories on that now when you look back on that experience?
Oh, it's a, the thing was, I was always a little nervous to go to North America because, I experienced North America from basically watching the TV, whether you think, well, basically you walk in the street, somebody's going to mug you or threaten you with a gun or shoot. So I arrived in Vancouver fully expecting sort of like, I don't know, how would you describe it? Miami Vice or something like gangsters and, sort of like, and it was nothing like that. It was like people stopped when you wanted to cross the street. I mean, I'm not used to that. I was living in the Netherlands. People speed up when you're trying to cross the street. It's like, and it's like, well, this is really like a complete other world. It's like, it felt a little bit like paradise, to be honest, Vancouver. I mean, it's changed since then. It's a lot busier, but it was just like one of the most remarkable places. I couldn't believe it. It's just like, why doesn't everybody live like this? And I mean, it was a life-changing experience for me, but in a very positive way.
For me too, considering I had been falling asleep to your music and collecting your music, and that in those days it was really a challenge to find it and get it, and you were so happy when you get it that all of a sudden you asked me to mix your show, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be legendary. I mean, for me, because I'm mixing somebody who I know potentially know the tunes you're going to do, and so it was like, oh my God, the most exciting opportunity in the world. And you show up, and we do 3 shows at that club, the Channel One, and went down to Seattle. But like, I mean, just I was able to record those shows. Wow. Yeah. I think I sent them to you. But like,
yeah.
The whole experience just marked this whole thing where we went into the studio and made Center Bullet, and it was just like, I don't know.
Oh, that was so cool. I mean, I remember the way we wrote Ophelia together. It was like really, we did it in a day. You realize that, Kevin? We actually wrote and recorded Ophelia in a single day.
That's right. That was when the pressure was on.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
The pressure was on, but creativity was high. And
I know. I love that. I mean, I actually like a bit of pressure. I set my own. I put my own pressure on. Like, I set deadlines for myself. Like, I will complete this by this date, and I really do tend to sort of like really go for it. Still do. I mean, it kind of like keeps the cobwebs off of the brain, basically.
Well, I have to say, being nostalgic like I am, this is like original copy of Curse sent to me by Pat Birmingham in Phase Records. It actually has stickers on it. I don't think I've ever seen other stickers like that on it.
No. I remember them vaguely, but yeah.
See, the great thing about this, Edward, is when I was looking at this today, I was looking where the phone number was that Debbie called. And then I looked inside, and now out popped this letter. And it's a letter from you when you still lived in Ilford, Essex, on 737 top flat, blah, blah, blah. And it's like you're right at the very beginning of your career. Well, I mean, you several things, but you're so nice and warm and friendly. And this is before I'd met you. And you said, I thought this is great. I wish we could tour Canada and the USA. Although you say it's cultureless, it does have a certain fascination. That's gold, is it not? But I just have to say that I still think that, Curse is possibly, I mean, you have made so many great albums, but like the way these albums play out on vinyl, still to me to this day, I always love Brighter Now.
Yeah. You got the original too. I always like the original cover the most. It's just like something so, yeah. And the font is perfect on the original Brighter Now. It's a bit big on the second one, but the original, perfect.
There's the geekiness of me. I'll show you the original. And then the Terminal Kaleidoscope version released by the legendary Play It Again, Sam, where you guys were the first release on their label. And
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, haven't they become like a Virgin Records Europe by now?
It's sort of a bit like that, isn't it? It's like bizarre when you think about it, like what happened to them and what happened to us.
Well,
but you know, good luck to them. I mean, we're all still going. I mean, I've got nothing against Play It Again, Sam, at all. I mean, they actually did a lot for us. We might have had our little disputes here and there, but they did do a lot for us, you know.
I mean, we kind of have the same thing with Network, where it's the contentious relationship, but like it wouldn't have probably happened unless we were all working together on some form or another back in the day. But when you see these records, these vinyls and stuff like that, what comes to your mind when you see them? Do you?
Oh, you do actually go back there. You go back to the flat. You go back to the big room. Because Pat Birmingham was living. He moved his entire studio into the ground floor, because you know there was the top flat was 2 floors, and like there was me in one room, there was Barry, guitar player, the Dots, in another, there was Sally in another one, there was Roland in another one. There were like 4 rooms, and basically Patrick took over the entire first floor, like with his studio equipment, which he bought from Nick Mason.
Wow.
Kind of interesting. I mean, it was really serious equipment. It's like a tape recorder with 1-inch tapes, and yeah, that one.
Silver.
Yeah, that's
it is silver.
Interesting times.
I've just been,
oh my god.
I'm so intrigued by this.
You're really trying to embarrass me.
Oh, no, you can't be. This is
you are
brilliant.
That is. You haven't got that horrible one. Oh, I knew that was coming. Oh, is really getting quite desperate by this time.
It's like it. Oh, it's just brilliant, Edward. I love it. And you know, it's gone all the way so that you know, you and Patrick. I had Patrick on a few weeks ago, and he was. I shared the same pictures with him, so forgive me. You had to venture through the times.
Oh God!
Oh, there's Barry back there. Bless his heart.
I know. That's just too sad. It's just too sad.
And Bill's so flamboyant in some of his outfits are so flamboyant.
He did have some serious outfits. Well,
nice hairstyles. I don't know, Edward, your stage persona, presence, you know, absolutely. No one will say they could believe that you opened for Skinny Puppy by yourself with bare feet in 1987 on the Ate It Dead Tet tour. And I gotta say that, I mean, you know, what a challenge that had to have been. But like, you've come a long way, and now we're sitting here, and it's like nearly, what's that, 35 years since then?
I know. Well, that was a life changer too. That tour was, I still hold it as one of the holiest tours for me that I've ever been on. I mean, life changes in that. It's like it was the adventure of adventures, you know. It's something, yeah. The first time I ever saw the States. I mean, apart from that little trip to Seattle in '86, this was really seeing like the deep South and Florida, and you know, like the famous Washington Monument experience and stuff like that. You know, it's it was a absolutely life-changing time for me.
I can only imagine.
The best way, something, you know, something that I just will carry with me forever, basically.
I mean, the uniqueness of those days is gone in the United States. Like just the way the United States was in the 80s. You know, it's a totally different world now. And I gather when you come here, you must really note that. I mean, did it really seem so politically ferocious back then to you, or was I just not noticing it?
It was. I mean, I remember when we went south. a lot of people really were not quite ready for us. That, you know, Puppy as well as myself.
Right.
I mean, I do remember Atlanta was particularly challenging. And I mean, Atlanta's a great place to go now, but it was difficult then. So I remember I was like basically had my backing track on a cassette. I had a keyboard and sort of like, and someone was like, "Why don't you get up off your ass and play?" So, well, yeah, right, yeah, I'm not sure this is going well. And in Miami, he said, "You suck." Yes, oh, right, yeah, great. So like this is really challenging territories.
You did it and you conquered. And the thing is that I'll bet that those people that thought those feelings back then realized later, oh, that's Edward KaSpel. They'll be like, no way. I'll guarantee that would be 99% of the comments from anybody that would have been at that show in those days.
We still hear from people who were there. That's the interesting thing. There's actually quite a lot of them were there, and I think they certainly discovered the dots at that time. And you know, because everything was like opening up. I mean, so I remember the next time Skinny Puppy went there, you were telling me like completely different, like lots more people came to see you. And because remember Houston, there were like 40 people there.
Yeah, it was like exponentially. It grew exponentially each time we played. So it was like it really grew. You could witness the growth of it all, but also, yeah, you could feel, like you said, you're cutting some new turf with the music, to the point where you're like risking like your safety.
That did occur to me here.
Yeah. But it felt exciting almost at that time to be presenting something which was above the comprehension of say maybe 40% of the audience, which should never happen now. I think people have seen everything.
That's in some ways it is a sad time in some ways that everything is so accessible.
Isn't it?
I mean, I like it in some ways. I like it. I can hear whatever I want to hear, although it feels like there's too much almost. And it's all good, and you want to hear it all anyway because it is that good. But it's like, unless I can triple my lifetime, like it's all like in some way, because I need to be able to hear all this stuff. Whereas then you really had to search for everything. And and people indeed, they hadn't heard anything like, say, Skinny Puppy or the Dots. It's like, who are these weirdos? So, where's the banjo? It's like they don't have a banjo.
You've always been an expert at finding the weirdest records in the record store, if there was one available. And that's how I found out about like half the music I still listen to today. Classic, legendary stuff that you introduced me to and exposed my mind to. So thank you for doing that, not only with your own music, but with the music that you listen to. Pretty invaluable education. It's like some people have said that to me. It's like once you enter the world and you start to learn and everything through a certain particular musician or style of music, it's like you're being educated in some manner. And I think that you have definitely been a professor, Edward. It's funny how
no, I'm a professor. I'm someone who is desperate to always hear something new, because I like to. And there are definitely. I remember instances of when I heard somebody the first time. Sort of like when there was a time, believe it or not, I thought, I'm not sure if I'm into jazz or not, but there I was in a store in Kansas City, and Miles Davis was playing. It's like, my God, sort of like, and then it's just like, then jazz opens up, like all jazz. It's just like pour me on, and then suddenly you're hungry for every Sun Ra, Miles, anything you can lay your hands on, because you didn't know this whole area of music. And sort of, it's great when a whole genre opens up to you.
You think it's evolutionary, like that you you weren't ready for jazz before that, and it just hit you at that particular moment.
That particular moment, yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it opened the door and you said, wait, you know, if jazz is going to be like this record, then bring them on. That's kind of like what
it's very much like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so rewarding. I mean, I listen to so much jazz now. It's just like I'm fascinated by it. And, you know, the older you get, the more you get into it as well. It's such a great music, really. So much good stuff there.
I've been putting people on the hot seat about what you really like to listen to. So is there something you really want to shout out right now?
I actually said in an interview my favorite album of the last decade is actually Ryuichi Sakamoto, Async. I love that album.
Okay, we need to go listen to it immediately because I
cannot stop playing that one.
Really?
It's a couple of years old now, but I don't know. It just takes me to a head state that's just so sort of melancholy, but large. The man is a master.
Oh, he is. I mean, we have to shout it out right now. YMO, Edward's talking about essentially. You know, I've always said like my quintessential favorite band, next to you guys, of course, Edward. It's YMO and Legendary Pink Dots. You can't lose with that combo.
Oh, totally. YMO, sure.
I thought that the YMO, when I finally got to see them, I waited my whole life and got to see them about 10 years ago now here in Hollywood. But man, I waited my whole life just to see that. And it didn't let down. It was quite that experience that I was hoping and waiting for.
That's great.
You must run into that when you tour where people, you're so lyrical that, like, you're one of the few lyrical guys that I know all of your lyrics, and I often don't know people's lyrics, but when I know one of your songs well, I know all the words. So, I mean, you must have people like just out there like singing along with you, and you seeing that.
That does happen. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I can imagine that there's a certain percentage of the audience which actually haven't seen you live yet and are actually having that trip where they're finally getting a chance to experience your live show and you're taking them away. Because of the COVID and not being playing live, you must be really looking forward to getting out there and playing live with all this material.
It is withdrawal symptoms from not stepping on a stage. It's crazy. Sometimes you think, have I forgotten? You know, sometimes you have these panic attacks. Like, can I do it? It's been so long. But actually, you can. Yeah, I really can. I can't wait. To be honest, I need to do this.
Sorry, when you guys plan a set, do you plan it like okay, this is the songs we're gonna do, or do you leave it like kind of like open that if you wanted on a whim to say play you know, an oldie or something, you could throw it in there, or is it kind of like you kind of set your mind on the vibe you want to present? Or
it was absolutely about the vibe and sort of like a real set that we want to perfect over the course of a tour. You know, so we do have the same core of songs, but for the next one, I do want to widen it a bit more, have more possibilities for surprises because I'm curious if it'll work, because often when you begin a tour, the songs are quite raw, or at least very close to the album, then they change over the course of the tour. They really change and change and change, and that's actually really rather exciting. Whereas if you start like throwing in like different things from the past, or even things that haven't been recorded yet, that can happen too. Yeah, you might not be able to get that level that you want if you just said, we're going to play these songs, we're going to build on them night by night.
Yeah.
You know, it's
hard enough as to learn a set than to digest your. I mean, Edward, you have thousands of songs in your catalog. It must be difficult to conceive how to write a set list, even.
It's tough. I mean, at the moment, I'm just sort of like asking the rest of the guys, sort of like, is there any song that you really fancy doing on this tour. So I get the odd suggestions here and there, sort of, because indeed there's a lot of history there too. Obviously, we'll be doing a lot from museum, because we're really proud of museum, and want to put that out live. But of course, yeah, there will be songs from past too, and some songs really do resonate very much. I mean, obviously, I go for the ones which are very emotional for me. So something that I can really, almost makes you want to cry, or not so much that I do actually cry. It can be really hard to listen to old songs for me, because it puts me back to that place, and it's just like it's extremely emotional, and I just think, oh my God, how am I gonna, if it's that emotional just to listen to it, how's it going to be to actually deliver it? It's
I can only imagine. I get touched by your lyrics and the moments. We were Patrick and I were talking about every time he performed certain tracks with you, he'd find himself crying, and I'd be like, yeah, well, that's it. There's such amount of emotion in Poppy Day. Like if you're going to sit and play something like Poppy Day or something and not feel some level of emotion, then there's something wrong with you if you're not that human. But I can only imagine, is there certain songs that you just can't do because of that?
Yes, I must admit, I've always wanted to do You and Me and Rainbows, but that's up there in terms of sort of like that emotion. It makes me want to cry when I hear it. Still does every time.
Is it like the experiences that you're conveying about? Like I kind of got the idea that You and Me and Rainbows was you were writing about your experiences, sort of about the tour and about what you were really witnessing, but psychedelically.
It's in there, but it says if there's something so, I don't know, it was like really, I went very deep into myself, especially that last verse. It's like, this is my reality right now, and it became like quite shocking for me to be that open about my state of mind and sort of like where it goes, and it's deeply, yeah.
Sorry, Edward. Mr. Ersic has a question.
Can I show you Alistair? Just a second. Alistair.
Hey there. Hey. Nice to meet you.
Alistair. Yes.
Is that a legendary pink puppy?
he's adorable. He's so adorable.
Dogs are the best. I have one here too. She's asleep on the floor. Edward, Mr. Ersic Grove has a question. Any memories from the night of recording You and Me and Rainbows that stand out? My impression, just as a listener, that it must have been fun and magical, even though the song itself is quite serious. Tired Eyes is my all-time favorite album with any artist or group.
Oh,
any memories?
Well, I mean, what does stand out for me was the trip. Remember with Lisa Love, when we were getting her to go, no, like that. And so like with the echoes and things like, we decided this is gonna be the trip. Remember, there was a decision we made. It's just like, it's like, whoa, it's an interesting trip. And when that little bit of, I think it's Billie Holiday that we were playing with radios and just came on.
Yeah. I mean,
and it's just like, oh, yeah, God approves. I thought, thanks.
Unplanned. It's complete. That I think that radio in there must have been like musically like in tune or something, because
I know it was like it was a chicken skin moment.
Perfect sample. I feel like every time. And stay away from me.
No, it's like, oh God, it's like the spirits are sort of like, they're dabbling here, they're messing with us, but really in the best way.
Absolutely. And I remember too that you would direct segments of the song the way they were recorded. You physically with your hands would direct how the sculpt was moving. And I always remember that. And each section, how there was like a theme and a character that we were going to follow and a concept. And that was so much fun to make. I don't think I've ever been involved in a song where it's been so much fun, you know, to make it.
It was great to make that. You know, see that I mean, that's the thing. Music is very somehow visual and physical, and you do mold it in the ether somewhere. It's like it's not just, it's not something you write really on a computer. It's something you think and then recreate, and sort of like, yeah, it's much more than notes on paper or on a screen or something like that. It's bigger than that.
I think, though, as well, Edward, you are masterful at mixing and at how you, as I said, introduce segment changes and stuff in you, conceptually, and in how you are an engineer, how you engineer. It's just, it's uncanny. And that's the thing I love most about the Museum of Happiness is those changes that you've always talked to me about them. The, what do you call it? A page change. It's just so,
yeah.
So,
and changing the room, yeah.
How do you, can you shed any light on how you approach doing that? Is it effective?
Okay, no, it's not a secret really. I mean, basically, when I write a song, I want every element in that song to transform throughout the song. Even if it's a 2-minute song, every element will in some way transform. It's the drums, the bass, they all change rooms. They can be very subtle, but they will all change. And I tend to do that for everything, because it's a discovery. It's like, where is this going to go? And if I find this is stuck here, the only thing to do here is to completely change it. Like, you know, there's a thing on the Concrete Diaries. It's like, this song is nice, but it's stuck. Then I thought, there's this little bit where I talk about can of bees. We need bees. So I brought this like sound of bees going everywhere, and then it's like it completely changes. And you know, it's like I guess it's sort of like you always got to be a little bit, think out of the box a little bit.
Does the music ever like suggest the lyric, and the lyric then re-suggests the music?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's got to be fun, especially when you're as good a lyricist as you are. I mean, do you ever laugh yourself when you write something and think like, oh my God, that you get your own humor?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I do like to laugh about it a bit here and there.
It's like when we did I could pee myself. When we did It's Your Karma, when I was tracking I'm trying to retain my composure. When you were tracking that vocal behind me, I was at the mixing console and I was literally losing my diaper, laughing so hard, trying to keep my composure. It wasn't that it was just like hitting my funny bone in that way where it was just so perfect. But like that ability, man, is just, you know, that's, I just miss that. I really, for one thing, I really look forward to working with you, no matter what it is. And
me too. It always, I mean, what I love about when we're together in that studio, it's like we both get really like excited, like these like 15-year-olds like, wow. Yeah. like, it's great. And I mean, I need that too, you know, and it's infectious. You know, it's just like I can't be so clinical about everything. I have to get excited and sort of like explosive, and you know, because it's great. You know, it's such a great feeling, and it's like wish everybody in the world could hear this and feel this like right now.
Yeah,
you know, because
share that excitement when we're working, and you like something. It's just instantly you've shared that energy, and it gets me going, and then I'll be like, yeah, man, it's like for me, like one of the greatest experiences of my life is when I got to come over to your world. And, you know, in 1993, I was able to go over to Holland and go into your studio at Nils for the first time and meet all of you guys and play with you guys and the result was Nine Lives to Wonder. I mean, for me, what a life-changing experience it was. And just before The Process, a really crazy album in Skinny Puppy's history, this was like the heaven before the hell. And so I've always seen this as like the inspirational for me in working with you guys, and then, you know, getting inside like your world and feeling like, just, you made me really feel like good, Edward. You made me feel like a human being, a part of your world, and like, and there was something very, very special about that.
That was a great album to record. I have very good memories of Nine Lives. You know, it was just one of the funnest albums of the 90s for me, I must say. Yeah, because you were there. I mean, that with a lot of music was made at that time. It was like we were all kind of on the same page, which was always helps. Yeah, if everybody's on the same page, good things going to happen.
Well, that's to be said too. It's so true. After that, I had, as I said, a really intense experience that ended up in Dwayne's passing away.
Oh, for The Process, yeah.
If it wasn't for you guys, you insisted that I come to Mexico, and I was like, oh
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I don't even understand how much that saved my life at that point. It was like my friends came. We went and sat on like some mountaintops. Look at me. I'm not actually expressing to you there how grateful I actually am that you guys like actually, like, I'm gonna say you saved my soul at that very moment right there in that picture. I can see me being, thank you, God. Very thankful for the experiences that we shared doing this crazy gig around pyramids and like Pompeii type stuff. We played in that moat, or played off that moat. That was the craziest gig isn't that the craziest gig you've ever done, Edward?
It was up there. I remember somebody trying to pull me off the stage at one point, which would have ended really badly. You remember how high the stage was? Great guys, the guys who brought us there. I have such nice memories of them. Remember the margaritas on the first night?
Oh my God, too much. Yeah, we got a little toasty. I think that was with Stephen Brown here at his place.
Yeah, that's right.
That's you, Stephen Brown, yeah? Tuxedo Moon.
Yeah. I still hear from Stephen.
Is he still in Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
At least I think he is. Yeah, he is in Mexico still. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the better part of the lyrical things that you disappeared, and we found that you were in one of these caves in these pyramids here, and you had written like 2 songs. The most prolific man on earth. Man, I really.
It's just what I do. You know, I like doing it, so why not?
So, can you talk about something about your setup? Like, what's your current setup that you got going?
I'm actually sitting in it. It's not much. It's like there's a keyboard there. There's lots of little guys. I've got like things like this.
Oh, what's that?
Quantitative swarm.
A swarm?
It's a good noise. It's a real noise machine, but in the best possible way. Actually, really like. So I have lots of little sessions on this guy, sort of like, and I mix it in the things. There's what else is there? I don't have a lot of space, so I have all these little devices like the Bastille Castle.
Oh wow! Yeah, Bastille, great company.
It's really good. It costs like £80 or something, but boy, it kicks a lot of noise in. And I use a lot of virtual synths. So I really do like the different kind of like things that I can get into there. So I found my way around them a lot now. So like I know what I want. But I do like to throw in the wild cards, and sort of like a lot of field recording things. It comes from all angles, basically.
So there it is, Edward. I got it. That's the secret. It's the field recordings.
Oh, field recordings are really important. Yeah. Oh boy, yeah.
That space, I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. They're in there a lot.
And
You just go around and record whatever feels interesting, like.
what are you using for a field recorder?
Phone at the back there, it's like sound.
Are you using your phone to record, or what are you using to?
No, I've got a little Eddie roll, basically.
Eddie roll.
Yeah, I've had it for years, but it's really nice. I still use like a little cassette recorder here and there.
The little annoying box that I was running around.
Do it, yeah, it's absolutely.
I was driving everybody crazy with that box, and then you wait, put that in the song. I think it's in
It's in. I believe it's in It's Your Karma, isn't it?
Oh no, it's in one of the acoustic songs on Last Man to Fly.
Oh yeah, it's there too, but it's also on It's Your Karma, I seem to remember. There's like a.
I remember I was annoying the hell out of Martin with that thing. It was like, diarrhea.
Oh god.
So I gather you're still using Ableton as your favorite dog.
Yeah. It's a friend. It's just a friendly program. I wouldn't say like I'm no expert with it at all.
I think you've experted it.
No, really not. I'm just able to use it according, because I record a lot like I did in the 80s, really, but of course with better sound and better understanding of how sound works together. And Ableton is just a very friendly platform where you can sort of like go back to how you like I convert everything to audio. Like I don't have like 100 tracks running at one time, because I couldn't control all of that. I always get it down to sort of what I call them combos, where sort of related things I submix into like one stereo track, and I will end up with about 8 of them, and I mix from the 8 tracks. So it's a bit like go back to 8 track, but of course there's a long process to get to the 8 tracks. But it's all with submixes and a lot of perfection. I use monitors to do pretty much the final sound and everything like that, but I do a lot on the headphones for the fine details, because I'm someone who, if I detect a flaw or something I can't deal with it. I feel like getting up in the middle of the night because I know it's there, so I have to correct it. It'll be the first thing I do the next morning. I just have to correct it. I cannot stand the thought that there's a flaw there.
Do you ever dream your next step in your song? Have you ever?
Oh yeah, often. Yeah.
Or
there's always something playing in my head. I
Right.
can't switch it off. I'm sure you've got the same.
So you've worked on a song, and then it continues to run through your head, and then you'll come up with a second part of the melody.
Well, basically, it's always some melody or some song. It never stops.
Yeah.
It literally plays in the background all the time. It's like happily changing, because otherwise I'd be completely insane by now. But it just is always there.
Yeah, you get that thing where you'll know you've been in public when all of a sudden later that weird song is running through your head, and you'll be like, wait, where did that get in there? And you'll be like, oh, it was in the supermarket.
Yeah, indeed.
So do you like to work with Ableton on not on the loop page where it's like the clips?
Yeah, I do it on the regular.
On the regular page, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's always been the best approach with anybody I've seen that has finished anything on Ableton. If you work on that other page, it's just like forever triggering and like not real. Anyways, yeah. Well, that's great. I think that you mastered the program, because I know you've been working on it a lot. And like when I exchange song ideas, when we worked on Brown Acid Caveat, you were super proficient at sending stems. And I like your concept I mean, is there any magic about having to be limited to 8 tracks like the way we were in the old day?
It gives you the chance to have a complete hand on it.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose things in the mix. So for me, I find it very manageable, and that's so important for it to be manageable. And like I don't get obsessed, particularly with sort of like the sound of a snare or something like that. It has to be the sound of, say, like the entire rhythm together. And but again, the rhythm is fascinating because you can really change it and you can add little subtle things. That's a very important thing, to really have this evolution through a track. The rhythm has to evolve. And yeah.
Did you ever play drums, Edward?
It has to be there first, eh?
Do you ever play drums, or is it like finger tapping?
No, I couldn't play drums to save my life.
I think I would like your drums because I happen
No,
to.
you wouldn't.
I like the sound of drummers,
No, you wouldn't.
but I love the sound of drummers that know rhythm but don't know how to drum. Those are the best drummers I've always found. Like the Velvet Underground or something like that. You know, it's like trying to get there, but not really getting there.
I think Maureen Tucker was a good drummer. I must say, I like what she did.
But she was primitive, she had that sort of like primitive sound, which I think is something I like about things. Like, I don't know who did the drumming on the first Pink Dots, but it was definitely acoustic supplements.
That was Keith Thompson. He was actually very good.
And he was tasty on those.
Great with the percussion too, I must say.
And just right. Like, I mean, as these albums are growing older, they just get better and better and better. As I was saying to Simon from Birminghams, they're legendary classic albums. And I just think one day people are going to be like figuring, well, wait, we've got 150 tracks in this song and he had 8 tracks in that song. Wait, and then they'll learn. So another question here from Max Matson. Hi, Kevin and Edward, big fans of yours. At the end of the song, Malice Through the Looking Glass off To Be an Angel Blind. What is that crazy distorted synthesizer flute sound?
Well, that is this guy on the other end. That is Kevin playing it absolutely live. One of the best actually the best synthesizer solo I've ever witnessed. And I mean that.
Oh, Edward, thank you so much. And you know what? I really have to say something about that moment. It was the SY22, the Yamaha SY22. And I was just jamming on the end part of the song. And then somehow I realized somewhere along the way that it was being recorded. But I truly felt at that moment that I was channeling my sadness about Dwayne. Something about Dwayne was coming straight through into my head, and it came straight through into that song.
To hear it and to see it was just like jaw was on the floor. It was that good. It was just such.
I remember you patting me on the back about that. Thank you very much. And thank you for that question. I did not set that up.
No, really. Yeah.
Your coat asks, I've seen you both live and I must thank you for your professionalism on stage. Since I'm working in a museum, the title of the latest legendary Pink Dot surprised me with joy. In another way, the question for Edward is, are you a family guy?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
He says, do you have children? So on.
Yeah, I certainly do. No, it's a very, our little family here is a very happy family, I must say. Inspires me, it makes, I'm encouraged to make music that really helps, like a lot that really stands behind me. And Alice likes it. Alice came up with the title of the album, can you believe?
That's awesome.
Yeah, she basically wrote a poem called The Museum of Happiness. So I thought, that's got a ring to it, the Museum of Human Happiness. Then suddenly, like, pictures begin to form in your head, and you think of what this museum looks like. It's just like, yeah, Alice does that a lot. She's 12 years old, but she's got a big imagination.
12 years old. So I'm kind of awaiting the moment that she's going to somehow appear on the album playing stuff. Is she playing any instruments yet?
She speaks on the Concrete Diaries. On what's the name of the track? I always forget the names of the actual tracks. It's not everyone's invited. Yeah, that's Alice speaking on that, and she's on the album 10-9. Does a spoken part on that. Yeah,
it's one of those things that I just expect that your daughter has to. And I mean, if she isn't like a musician, she's going to be an artist. What's she going to do? Album covers, or do you think she's going to be your manager?
Well, to be a tennis player actually at the moment.
Tennis player.
Yeah.
I could never guess. What?
She's amazing. I mean, I'm about as, you know, I'm about as sporting as a sort of a can of baked beans, basically. But you know, Alice can really do it. Yeah, it's remarkable. Really superb.
Do you guys have any plans to play any shows in Europe before you're coming over to America? In any way of go to Treffin or?
Not before, no. I mean, it's still a bit difficult to play Europe at the moment because not everywhere has opened up at the same time. Because we were going to tour in what is it, March? You know, actually, yeah, we would have just been finishing the tour around now, but it didn't happen because just crossing a border, you'd have to test and everything like that. And how can you do that if you played, say, Munich one night and Vienna the next night? You're not going to be able to test to get to Vienna, you know, because you need time to be able to do that,
right.
And that time will have gone.
Is that still happening now?
I think so, but not as bad. It's definitely opened up a lot more. Certainly, the UK there's no restrictions at all. But you know, the figures aren't great here either with COVID. But you know, it clearly is in the direction of where, you know, I think the restrictions are just dropping away all the time now.
Yeah, I mean, we were so worried about these shows that were coming up in June in Europe that we couldn't even we couldn't do it because basically it was just too much of a financial risk to basically encounter.
Oh God, yeah, to go from the States, yeah, that would be tough.
11 people coming from the States, and then there was no buses available either because I guess they're all booked up because everybody thinks they can go back out on tour again. So we were faced with, okay, the only way you can do this is by plane. There was 2 or 3 shows they had planned, and it was like, doesn't sound safe. And then the financial element was, of course, you had to pay for everything up front, and then
hope it comes at the other end. Yeah, that's not.
Oh wow,
that's too much of a risk. I agree. You know, if it's a little later, I think it would have worked. Say September, I think it could have worked. But June still might be okay in June, but because say it has opened up, but it's unsteady. It's not something you could set in stone yet.
We haven't toured in 5 years anyway, so we were thinking if, you know, we're going to go out and play shows, the first shows that we do, we don't want them to be like, you know, these shows like that. We'd rather put on our own events and stuff. So anyways, stay tuned for info on that. Ooh. I don't know, Edward. I just have to say that I thoroughly enjoyed when you and Amanda Palmer toured. And
I did enjoy that too. Yeah, very much.
It must have been amazing for you because of how live it was.
It was great. Yeah.
It's completely live. I mean, like, you know, I was just blown away by the ability of you guys to do what you did. You talk about a jaw dropper. That show was a jaw dropper. Is there any more plan?
It was such fun. There was such a synchronicity between us. Amanda she's great. You know, she's a really good piano player and a really excellent performer, and you know, sort of like, yeah, it's infectious. It just ran through us. I mean, I really enjoyed myself on that tour. Very different sort of tour for me, but that was what's so cool about it.
So good. And then I had a great chat with Patrick a couple of weeks ago. What a great guy he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we made an album together as well, you know, I saw that recently.
Yeah, you made the Caveat for All Things Brown, a couple of songs with him, and then the Scarlet Trail of Stinging Tears.
That's it.
How is it that you've got Anagramma with motion capture that's coming out. Those guys are so cool.
Stefano's great, yeah.
Filippo and Stefano. I love those guys. you know, you got such a great amount of stuff going on. What's this? What's your thoughts on working on this? I mean, the one thing about this stuff, talk about what a package.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? Yeah.
Just incredible packages that Russ Blade and Stefano put together for the work that you guys do together. And so cool, you know? Look at that.
Well, that's the thing. Stefano is, again, he's got such a passion and a love for what he's doing, and it really comes across. It's just like, you can't help but be inspired by that. You know, when you feel this like love for the music and the way it looks and everything, like, you know, it's great to be part of that.
You know, it's just great. They're great people. Every time I go
nice
to Italy,
people, yeah.
Yeah, awesome people, and great energy from that project. Is kind of like a even darker ambient sort of world. It's so cool. And then you did a ripple on the Richter scale. What was that?
Oh, that's Michelle in Chile. Michelle actually took us down to Chile. When was it? In 2008. And we did like a little recording in his living room, but then sort of Michelle said, well, I'd like to take this further. And I thought, yeah, actually I would too. And so he sent me a lot of piano pieces. He's a really good piano player. And I thought, oh, this is beautiful. This is absolutely my kind of piano, this haunting, emotional, it's technically a much better piano player than me too, which really, that stirs me. He plays the things I would like to be able to play. And I thought, wow, this really, I want to be, I'm very into this. So he basically made the second part. Now, okay, I will carry on, absolutely, because and again, a very inspiring project, I must say. And they're all kind of a little bit different to one another, which is kind of cool.
We brought in a little guest here. The legendary Simon Paul has joined us here. I heard you.
Simon!
Hey, this guy.
Good to see you again, Simon.
Hey, congratulations on the album.
Thanks. Well, congratulations on the probably the best cover we've ever had for any album.
Thanks.
Simon, what did Edward tell you about making the cover? Did he tell you what his concept were, and how did you?
I don't really remember. It was a long time coming. He reached out to me, and I had the demos for about a year, and
lucky you.
Yeah, and then it kind of, because of COVID, everything kind of paused, right? And then I just tinkered with it and tinkered with it and tinkered with it, and he'd reach back out to me and be like, okay, we're doing this, and this is moving forward now, and all the rest of it. So I think it was just he sent me the music, told me kind of what it was about, and then I pitched him a few ideas, and that was the one that they went with. And and in the back, he was like, we need beds. We need to put beds on this. And it was like around that time where there was tons of field hospitals and stuff too. So it was this really weird time, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Because they had these things called the Nightingale hospitals here, and they were like warehouses full of beds.
Right.
And the strange thing is that they were hardly used because they didn't actually have the staff to run them.
Yes.
But you felt there was something so ominous about the entire concept of the Nightingale hospitals, and you thought, well, basically, this is where people just kind of go to die. It's like the most dreadful thought, like a warehouse of like death. It's like, Jesus, where are we? And as I say, like the song Nightingale it was inspired by them. It's not, in a way, it's like about experimenting for cures and things like that, like the song Nightingale itself. But it fits, and it's sort of like it's actually a loner that came up with sort of like, it has to be beds. We have to have Nightingale on this album cover, and then you captured it.
Yeah.
Actually perfectly.
And I think I started with astronauts, and then you suggested the hazmat suits. I thought, oh, that's it. That's way better.
Oh, the hazmat suits. Yeah, that's right.
And then it just became like this, everybody's in these hazmat suits going into like where there's a happy place kind of thing.
Yeah. I love the smiley face. That was like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, that was fun. Like I had like, because there was so much time, and I got like my friend to like build stuff in 3D so that I could actually position things how I wanted to do them and have like this kind of vortex kind of vibe. So it was yeah. And then Paul's pour paintings I've been dying to use on something, because he's got these great acid like pour paintings that he's been doing, and just to kind of incorporate that as like this surreal world was fun to use too.
Oh, it's captured it perfectly.
Have you guys ever met before physically?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, met in Toronto last time round.
Yeah.
Oh,
Met him on
the message.
The Brighton Line tour and the last one, yeah.
That's right. Kevin, I've got to warn you, I've got a low battery on my computer. It might not last very much longer.
Okay. Yeah, well, we're right at that point anyways. I brought Simon on just to be cool and tell his take. But Edward, man, it's always a pleasure sitting here with you and getting a moment to share. I cannot wait for the tour. You say the tour, it looks like it's going to be the 25th of October here in Los Angeles at the legendary Echo Club. And that's
a good venue. I like the Echo Lounge.
It really is. And, I think I've seen some of the best gigs I've ever seen in this city at that venue. So the last time you played here, it was phenomenal. Looks like you're getting up there to Toronto to see Simon on the 13th of November at the Velvet Underground. What's that, Simon?
It's a club on Queen Street. It's a good venue.
Okay, cool. So
good.
I saw Severed Heads there a couple of years ago.
One of my favorite bands.
We love Severed Heads.
Yeah, I love Severed Heads.
on their farewell tour or their goodbye tour, whatever it was.
We'll have them back. I'll make them on tour.
Yeah,
again.
please persuade Tom to do this.
The only thing I'm asking, Edward, we've been compiling and we've been finding stems for the potential to do Tiergarten. We have to do Tiergarten live at some point.
I think we'll be. I think we'll be murdered before we actually manage. Otherwise, it's like we have to do it. It has to happen. It really has to happen. I mean, otherwise, I don't want to do it with the walking stick.
If I ever retire in music, and if I, I'm not saying I am, but if I ever did, the last record I would want to work on would be with you. So we must prepare the time for such a thing.
You have to do this.
But you guys, happy Easter.
And to you too.
Yeah. Happiness of museums. And Edward, I cannot wait to see you on tour. All the best to you.
Me too.
To you and Elena. And there's Rihanna. Say hi, Rihanna, before she steps out.
Hey, Rihanna. There's a Lona around. Lona, come say hi.
How about Renton? Is he around?
He's on his iPad, I'm sure.
Lona.
It's okay, Elena. You don't have.
She's coming. She's coming.
She's coming.
Yeah, I think.
And what was the puppy's name again, Edward? What was your puppy's name?
Hey?
What was your dog's name again?
Alistair.
Alistair.
Alistair. He's actually right behind the
That
seat.
isn't the best name for a dog.
Alistair. Alistair.
It's like every day I come up with a new nickname for my animals because I still think I haven't come up with the cutest name, but Alistair. That is good. So
here she comes.
Oh, here she comes.
Want to say hi. Come say
hi. Elena. Just wanted to say happy Easter to you guys over there and wish you the best. And thank you for letting Edward.
Come see Alistair, he's down there. Alistair, come.
Alistair.
Thank you for letting Edward join us on this evening.
No problem.
And all the best to you guys, Simon and Renton and Elena and Edward and Alistair and everyone, all the households. So Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
You too,
Thank
Gary.
you, you
You
too.
too, Simon.
Yeah, Edward.